Hello, hello. Well, thank you for coming to this part of the seminar here. My name is Ryan Wachsmuth with Steel King Industries. I'm the Southeast Regional Sales Manager for them.
And my name is Craig Heil. I'm also with Steel King Industries, and I'm the Specialty Products Manager.
All right, so we'll just jump right into it. You know, automation is great. Steel King, we use automation too. But sometimes when you're looking at your plant, your facilities, you might want to just, is it right for me right now? Maybe a simple type of racking will help you reorganize, get rid of that clutter that's there for you. So what we're going to do here, you're going to see a lot of like slides, but they're going to be different. So we're going to just show you various options of types of pallet rack that are out there. And hopefully some of them will be engaging enough for you to incorporate into your facility.
Yeah. So looking at warehouse racking, it seems pretty straightforward, but really we want to create more storage space and utilize the footprint of the building to get as much materials in that facility as well as still be safe and lower costs.
So what we got here is just selective rack. It's your standard one deep pallet floor or selective rack. You might see it. You might have experienced it more. The selectivity is one deep. You can go 2 wide, 3 wide, 1 wide. There's not a lot of versatility in it. It creates a lot of aisle space, so you lose a lot of floor real estate because you have the aisles and your forklifts are going back and forth. But it's technically the first inaugural pallet rack out there. To give you a little idea, here's a video that kind of shows you a back-to-back selective rack and what that looks like. A lot of rack, but there's also a lot of aisles. It's great for when you have SKUs that are maybe one SKU, a couple SKUs, and then just logistically you work with your internal departments and figure out how to best organize.
And selective racking is the most common racking out there that you're going to see. It's the majority of the warehouses are utilizing selective racking. So we're just going to go through a little activity with you to show you all the different types of racking and how that will help you to be able to fill that facility with as much product as possible. So in this scenario here, we've got a 60,000 foot warehouse. We're using 40 by 48 pallets. And in this example, we're going 4 high, including a floor stack, and 20-foot uprights, 10 to 12-foot aisles.
So in this scenario here, we're looking at 5,184 pallet positions. To give you a little bit visual of what that looks like from a front elevation and side elevation from what Craig said, floor plus 3 beam levels, that's how we're getting to our pallet count on there. So again, the initial is selective. One of the first types of pallet racks out there, most commonly used pallet racks out there. And again, you'll see a few slides. They all look the same, but they're going to give you a slight little variation on how to, or other options of storage that we, as rack manufacturers, can assist with.
So going from that 4 high to just that 5, to going to 5 high and 25-foot uprights will give us an additional 6,480 pallet positions, which is a 25% increase just using the clear height that's available in the building.
From selective rack, people are actually wanting to get more like pallets. So maybe your SKU isn't 1 pallet, maybe your SKU is 2 pallet. A nice little addition to that is let's just take that pallet rack and go 1 deep, let's make it 2 deep. So there is a 2 deep selective. Now with this one, it does require either a forklift that has something that indexes into to be able to place that pallet in the back, or a forklift that has longer forks in order to reach that next pallet depth. So in the scenario in the photo that you're seeing here, it's actually taking that selective 1 deep, putting another rack behind it, creating a 2 deep, and what you do is you just mirror it over, and this actually shows you a 4 deep solution. And as you can see in this image here, now we've just reduced the amount of aisle space. We've taken that real estate and put pallets in it.
And so by going to that double deep system, eliminating some aisles, we're actually increasing the amount of pallets that we have in this system by 62%.
Another step that you can do with this type of selective rack is there's equipment out there, forklifts for very narrow aisle selection, where we take the 10, 12-foot aisles that are typically used for forklifts, and you use a forklift with a little bit tighter reach. You're looking more in the 6-foot, 7-foot range. And from what you can see here is that we tighten up that aisle space, reduce, there's a little bit more aisle spaces, but you can tighten up and add more rows of pallets in there to increase your pallet count. So in this scenario, same footprint that we started with was selective. We've just narrowed it up for the very narrow aisles, and you can see the pallet count has increased from, well, whatever it was, 5,100, we're now up to 9,180 pallet positions, which is essentially a 77% increase in storage usage. With this, I think these forklifts that you use are wire guided, so what you would need to do is run a wire in the cement for them to go down, so we're not banging into the uprights as it's being utilized. So there's a little bit more behind the scenes hidden costs that come along with something like this.
Next type of racking we like to show you here is drive-in and drive-through racking. So the advantage of drive-in and drive-through, again, we can eliminate more aisles because we can go more loads deep. The operator does have to drive into the rack and drive out of the rack, so you do have to have forklift drivers who are trained well to make sure you do not damage your uprights too much. And the video is showing here exactly how that works. One of the disadvantages to drive-in and drive-through rack is some of the pallets at the back of the system do end up getting buried, so you do have to be careful if you do have something that's perishable that it's not at the back of the position and not getting turned at a rapid rate.
Yeah, it's a honeycomb type loading and unloading. So that first pallet in goes to the top level all the way to the back. Next one is second level all the way back, and then you follow that procedure. So that uppermost first pallet is stuck. By code, you really don't want to be going underneath pallets for any possible breakage and coming down on top of you. So in driving, you have to remove all the pallets in sequence in order to get to a pallet that could be in the back.
But it is a good high-density storage solution, and in our scenario here, we're up to a 92% increase over just selective racks, so it is a good option.
Yeah, we're just showing here, I believe that's a 4-deep system, back-to-back. Again, you can see less aisles, but the nice thing with drive-in has the flexibility to work more around your facility, so if 8-deep works for you, maybe that loads a truck, full truckload for you or not, 8 deep, 20 deep, so forth. There's a lot of flexibility in creating how much high density you can get with the drive-in type product line.
Next, we're going to show you pushback racking. Normal pushback system is anywhere from 2 to 6 pallets deep. This is a first in, last out type of storage solution. The driver just pushes the loads back into the system, and as they unload it, the pallets come forward. So the pallets are always positioned at the aisle, whereas the drive-in we just showed you, the driver has to go into the bay to get them. This one, the loads will always be presented at the aisle.
So there's some hidden costs that come along with this that are actually savings for you. As Craig mentioned, you're not driving into the drive-in however many pallets deep. You're actually just only going to the face of the upright because the pallets are presenting themselves. So you're looking at less wear and tear in your forklifts, less usage of fuel, whatever it be, electrical, LP, gas, amount of people that you have operating that system. Maybe you become so efficient with this type of application that some of the other employees can be repositioned to where you have a bottleneck. So as Craig said, this is a first in, last out. You get used to it really quick, but it's gravity. So that pallet is always going to want to come forward. So the key thing for this is like make your time up going to and from the system, but when you're loading and unloading the system, just take your time.
So with this option here, with the pushback racking, we actually have jumped up to 10,530 pallets, which is a 103% increase, still using the same 60,000 square foot warehouse and the same 40 by 48 pallet.
Now with pushback, we do have a slope because we always want those pallets to come forward. Even when there is no pallet on a cart, we want those carts to come forward. So with that slope, now you are losing clearances in the rear. So ceiling heights becomes more of a concern, and depending on what depth system you have a cart stack height. Whereas selective, you can use top of beam to top of beam to find your vertical beam spacing. Let's say you have a 60-inch load, you can do a 70-inch vertical beam spacing. Depending on the depth of the pushback, we have to accommodate for the cart stack height. So with each depth becomes a greater cart stack height, meaning that vertical beam spacing grows more and more. So for instance, like on a 5 deep system, that same 60-inch tall load, we have to add 20 inches to that vertical beam spacing. So again, now not only is your ceiling a potential issue of hitting it with a top level, but we got to make sure that your forklifts can reach up that high. And just as an FYI, it's coming forward, so there's a lateral force. The rule of thumb or the quick answer is it's 5% of your pallet load weight. So if you're wondering, my forklift reached at 240 inches, can I physically push that back? Quick math is 5% of that weight times how many pallets are in the system, and that'll give you the number that you can give to your forklift, or even go back to the manual and see what it's all about.
So here we've got a video showing pallet flow. Pallet flow is a gravity-fed system. This is a first in, first out system. Works really well for perishable items, food items, inventory that needs to be turned quickly. You can usually go anywhere from 2 pallets deep to just about as 20, 25 pallets if you have good pallets.
Yeah, we actually installed a 32 pallet deep system. It worked out great for them because that was a truckload. So every level was a full truckload for them.
Yep. And as you can see, as these pallets move down the lanes, there are brakes at certain intervals to make sure that this load does go at a slow, steady pace. And as the video shows, it's crawling along down the tracks, and they just you can just keep putting more pallets into the system.
Yeah, pallet flow isn't one product line that you can just order off the shelf like you could selective. Each pallet is a little bit different, and we need to design around that. We'll design around your parameters. So no matter who you order it from or purchase it from, there should be a pallet test done, meaning the end user sends us the product. Doesn't have to be the product, but it just has to be the pallet. We can mimic the weight. We'll run through a series of tests. We'll let it set overnight, over brakes, behind brakes, just to make sure that when re-engaging that pallet will go up over the brakes and still get into moment. To add to Craig here is that's a pretty slow space. Anywhere from 30 to 45 feet per minute is a safe operating, what we're trying to achieve. To give you an example is if you start walking the same time the pallet is taken off by the wheels in the pallet flow, you'll get to the end of the system and you should be able to turn around, and that pallet is going to be about halfway down the system. So it's very controlled and slow. Some people might ask, well, how do I know when it's going bad? Simple look is you'll see it a little bit quicker. And in pallet flow, you just want to be cautious and aware of the movement of the pallets and how fast they're going down.
Yep. So looking at pallet flow now, we've still have our warehouse. We're going 8 deep in this scenario, and now we're up to over 10,000 pallets, which is a 108% increase over our selective racking.
Yep. So, like Craig said earlier, pallet flow, you can go anywhere from 2 deep all the way up to whatever works best. The only thing that we need to worry about now is there's the new NFPA fire code out there.
Yes.
So, based off the product that you're storing, sometimes after 240 inches, you need to create a gap anywhere from 6 inches to 36 inches, and it really comes down to the codes that are out there. So, in any high density rack system, we need to make sure that we're following all the guidelines, state, local. Your fire marshal, things of that nature. So things to take into consideration.
Yeah. Or you may need in-rack sprinklers.
Yep.
Is another option. So here we're showing a semi-automated pallet shuttle. The advantages of a pallet shuttle is you can go more or less as deep as you want to go. It's an automated shuttle that's going to keep indexing pallets from one end of the system to another. The pallets move with the shuttle. The shuttle takes them to the position needed. You can program the shuttles to leave space between loads for fire code concerns. But this type of system, you can leave for the day. It'll keep moving pallets. You don't need people there at the facility. So it's a very nice, very clean, very efficient, very dense storage solution.
The nice thing is it's kind of like you're driving where it's flat. There's no slope. We don't have to accommodate for any increases in the rear. So as Craig mentioned, you can utilize the whole length of your system. If it's 100, 120 feet long facility, you can technically fill it up and get yourself 75, 80 pallets deep. And the shuttle cart is, when they're installed, programmer comes down, they'll go through each lane, they'll program each pallet position in that lane to make sure that when the cart is ready to start loading, that it follows it. And what is it? We have the fire again. Sometimes they'll say, by default, for the equipment use, we always have 2 inches between each pallet, so you have somewhat of a gap. But let's say you're asked to get 6 inches. Now, you might lose a pallet position or more. You can reprogram it. We can remote in and reprogram it for you, but then you can get your 8 inches, whatever is required. The nice thing is that we don't have to sit there and go back to ground one and potentially give you a whole new system. We can just reslot, and you might lose a pallet position, but that's a lot better than having to spend the money to give you a whole new design.
So here with semi-automated shuttle, we can literally fill the warehouse, just leaving room on each end to be able to load and unload pallets. So we're up to over 15,000 pallets, which again is a 190% increase from just selective pallets alone.
So again, these visuals you see here, they're the same square. We haven't changed them from selective to now. We're just filling in the spots with a different type of product line. So we're just going from standard 1 deep to just maximizing what we can do.
Automated storage and retrieval systems,
so we got a little video here.
ASRS,
Does have
are
some
software-controlled systems that
sound
automatically
to it.
place and
So a
retrieve
little talk. I
inventory
don't know if you
within
can
your
hear it, but
facility.
it's actually a
Precision,
full hands-off,
accuracy,
almost
and
lights-out
speed,
type of
increasing your
application that you can
throughput
eventually
and
get to
minimizing your
if it
waste.
makes sense for your.
Automated storage and retrieval systems can be combined in a multitude of ways to create solutions that match any application. Unit loads are machines that store large loads, usually more than 1,000 pounds. These loads are stored single deep, double deep, or even deeper, and are typically on pallets with storage rack structure reaching over 100 feet.
So, as we were saying, this is an automated system. You load the system and it puts that pallet away. It uses a crane most of the time, and it's fully automated. No people involved whatsoever.
You program with your WMS system so you know where your pallets are, and it will know which one to pick when it's required. It's really taking your full cube of it. So at times you see these things as a rack supported, where we'll fill out the footprint and then put a shell around them so it can be completely lights out.
And because it's automated, you can go 100, 120 foot tall with your racking system.
Yep. Roll with it.
So some other things to consider when you're looking at racking, we've got the new fire codes, and Brian was talking about that earlier. Depending on where you're located, you may need to leave space between your loads or leave space between your rack systems to make sure that there's water penetration. That's up to 20 feet deep before you have to start leaving flue space of 42 inches. And always talk to your insurance company and your local municipality because they're going to set some of the standards that may not be out there for your location.
It's a costly change, and depending on where you are in the design process, if the metal's already being built and it's already being installed, that's a pricey build to do. Whereas if we were to just talk up front and design accordingly to all the people that need to be involved. So I hope you got something out of this. We appreciate you coming over, and if you have any questions, we'll be up here for a little bit to talk, and thank you.
Thank you.